nutritionist. I don't know if we are going through imposter syndrome as a department in Kenya or a section of healthcare, because I feel like these days everyone on social media is a nutritionist. Everyone in the hospital is a nutritionist. I feel like, where are we? Why is our voice drowned in all this fiasco? I will not mention names, but so, guys, today I hope you'll be able to see me. I'm trying something new. I'm looking for a good location outside that is less noisy to record this. Today I want to talk about imposter syndrome and my journey with imposter syndrome and helpful tips that have been helping me keep at bay the imposter syndrome. Most of us nutritionists, I feel like we go through imposter syndrome one way or another, and I don't want to lie about it. I'm going to define for you guys what imposter syndrome is and how to just know if you have imposter syndrome, and just helpful tips that have been helping me keep at bay the imposter syndrome. So my name is Charity. I'm a certified nutritionist in Kenya, and I'm also a mental wellness advocate. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all the details. Yeah, and also follow me on all my social media platforms to get nutrition related information. It's November, so it's World Diabetes Awareness Month. So on my pages, I'm really creating awareness around diabetes and the role of nutrition in diabetes management. What is imposter syndrome, guys? Imposter syndrome is a feeling of feeling unsure or doubtful of what you're saying or what you're doing, and half the time you really know what you're doing. I think that's why it's called a syndrome. A syndrome is just something that comes and it goes. Because I feel like for us nutritionists, I don't know if we are going through imposter syndrome as a department in Kenya or a section of healthcare, because I feel like these days everyone on social media is a nutritionist. Everyone in the hospital is a nutritionist. I feel like, where are we? Why is our voice drowned in all this fiasco? I will not mention names, but if you go to X, there's someone over there telling people not to eat fruits. If you go on TikTok, there's someone who is telling people fruits are bad. I'm like, someone over there telling people on weight loss to just not eat carbs at all, to eliminate carbohydrates, to eliminate fats. And then I'm asking myself, as nutritionists, are we going through an imposter syndrome phase? Like, why are our voices drowned with all these quacks and people who have not gone to school to study? Sometimes I feel like I go through this, because for me, as I create content on social media, I always sometimes feel doubtful. I research and all my posters on my social media platforms, let me put some of them here, I've really researched and I've tried to simplify them to fit a layman. So let's tell people, even if you're not a nutritionist and you want to be one, just come to my page and read on what I've researched on, and then you can now go and tell people proper things, especially people who have numbers, because I feel like most of the people who are giving nutrition advice to people have a huge following. And if you go as a nutritionist to those pages or those lives and you're trying to correct them, you'll get a lot of backlash from their followers, and you're like, I'm trying to help you guys, why are you coming at me? And I feel like that also fuels most of the imposter syndrome we feel as nutritionists. So what are signs to look out for that you are experiencing imposter syndrome? For me, I noticed I was so unsure of what I was doing, especially during my internship period. I used to get a lot of imposter syndrome. So when you're in a group or a ward round and the consultant asks you like, okay, what are you doing for this patient? All eyes are on you, and then you start now panicking, and then you end up saying something wrong. And when you say something wrong and then they correct you, that mistake will live with you, and it will make you second guess everything you know. So sometimes it gets so bad, like you're like, you know what, I'm not going to even attend that ward round. And then when you don't attend wardrobe, they see like nutritionists are not really important. Most of the time you feel so doubtful of what you're doing, what you're saying. Sometimes it gets so worse, you're like you tend to forget everything you know, and then you end up taking a back seat, and then you're giving people who are not nutritionists a chance to do your job. And then when they do your job, they're like, okay, what's the use of nutritionists in the healthcare system if we can do their work? So sometimes it got so bad, I used to hate being a nutritionist. And also this thing I experienced with my first boss, the one I talked about being toxic, she used to feel a lot of imposter syndrome. Oh. And I feel like sometimes you used to rub it off on me, because when you're with someone and you know they're good at what they're doing, but they're always second guessing themselves, they're so unsure, they have to read and reread and reread, and then it just makes you feel like, so if a specialist is feeling the way she is, who am I who is not a specialist? Someone who is just starting. It was so bad. I hate imposter syndrome, guys, and that is why I felt like I should leave an episode on my channel for someone who feels like, am I good at what I'm doing? And what will people think about this? If I do an assessment and then I make a mistake, am I in a position to forgive myself and go and work hard to improve on it? Or will I let that mistake dictate how people view me or how my whole experience is? Because I feel like we used to rotate monthly per department, and then when you're done with all the departments and you find that you're good at mother and child, or you're good at diabetes, you can go back to the diabetic clinic and continue your rotation so that you can sharpen your skills. That's why for me it's so important for you as a nutritionist, if you can go for the 1 year internship. I know it's not paid and the union is pushing for payment of the interns because it's so difficult for you to be working for free. It's not easy because it just influences how you feel about the whole thing. But I feel like it also helped me keep at bay the imposter syndrome, because I know I went to my internship center and I did this, and I know if I keep on practicing I'll be good at it. Yeah, so those are just few signs and symptoms that I felt like sometimes the imposter syndrome gets to me, especially on social media, where there are a lot of eyes on you, there are a lot of voices, there are a lot of very many things going on. Especially those Friday videos about the myth and misconception I used to produce and make and post on my social media, they used to get to me, because I used to reread, and then now I record the episode and then I listen to it, I nitpick, and my perfectionism takes over, and then I ended up not posting the video because I feel like, what will people think? People will think I'm lying, and it just turns into a loop of self-doubt, and I don't like it. Few helpful tips that have been helping me keep at bay the imposter syndrome, because I feel like on good days, yeah, I'm good, I'm confident enough, and then on bad days I'm like, you know what, it's not even worth it. Yeah. So the first tip that really helped me was honing my skills. Keep reading, keep researching, keep practicing, especially if you're in the healthcare sector, a clinical nutritionist, a community nutritionist. Keep on sharpening your skills. Like, if you have, like, maybe you work in a private sector where the patients are not a lot, try and see all those patients. Try and do the nutrition care process in each of the patients, because by the time you get to the 5th or the 6th patient, you're already good at it. Like, you know, I'm going to take the weight, the height. If BMI is applicable, I will apply it. If the other method like skin fold with circumference, you can do it. And then from there, you can now calculate and just find out, like, you know, this patient is this, diagnose, and then put on your intervention. Go tell the nurses during the ward round, participate when they ask you a question, be confident, you know, like you're honing your skills by the time you're done with it. And I feel like the internship period really did that for most of us. By the time you're done with the internship, you're really sometimes good at it, but sometimes the imposter syndrome takes over and you're like, you know what, I'm not good at this, I can't do this. And then on better days, you're like, you know what, I went my internship center and this is what I did and I'm good at it. And then you'll be good. Yeah. I told you it's an up and down journey, and it's somewhat interesting and difficult at the same time, you know. And then the second skill is to keep yourself updated with what is happening in the industry, especially with this social media age. Go to Google Scholar, go to the WHO, UNICEF, Diabetic American Association, this Mother and Child website. Any new guidelines, be on these groups that are sharing these guidelines, latest guidelines. Keep on reading, know what is changing, so that when you're in front of people and you're quoting these recent guidelines, 2024, 2023, they know like this one knows what they are doing. And you know, when people see like you know what you're doing, they will not dispute what you're saying. That is what I noticed when I was doing my practical, I mean my clinical experience. When you stand in front of people and you say, this is patient A, B, C, this is their weight, the height, the waist circumference, this is the diagnosis, the medical diagnosis, they have a hyperglycemia, but for my nutrition diagnosis, the hyperglycemia might be as a result of the food they're eating, and this is what I want to do for the patient. I want to do nutrition counseling, I want to educate the caregivers, I want to share resources and just come up with a meal plan to be able to help the patient manage it well. You know, when you do that and people are like, so she knows what she's doing, they will not dispute what you're doing and you'll have a good time. So keep on reading and updating yourself on what is happening in the nutrition field. Is be confident. Confidence is a killer. Like when you walk in the room and they're calling you with a clean lab coat, well kept hair, with your notebook, and if you have the mark tape, if you have the measuring tapes, just walk in there, and when they ask you, be confident. And confidence is a skill you have to keep on doing and doing and doing until you're good at it. These soft skills, I usually tell you guys, keep on looking into them because they will help you in the long run. When you're confident, when they ask you a question about a patient and you've already gone prior and you've gone through the patient, you've talked to the patient, you've created rapport, the patient knows you, they'll also be like, you know what, this is actually good. I like what she's saying. Even sometimes you might not be sure of what you're saying, but since you're confident enough, they're like, we see you, we know what you're doing is right. So self-confidence or confidence is a good thing to have, and it's a good coping mechanism, especially if you have imposter syndrome. Because there's some people I remember in our campus days, they were saying rubbish, but because they were so confident in what they're saying, how they're presenting themselves, how they're walking, how they carry themselves, we used to believe what they're saying because we are like, you know what, he knows what he's saying and what he's saying is true. Yeah. Good tip is to always check in on yourself, take care of yourself. Checking in terms of self-care. Know the signs and symptoms. If you feel like they're starting to take at bay and you can't do it, take a break, take a step back. Go back and ask yourself, where did this imposter syndrome come? Is it the trigger? Is that someone told you like, mnyi nutritionist mnafanya nini? Hata misijui kazi yenyu ni nini hapa kwa healthcare, you know? That is a triggering thing, and it will trigger some and most of our imposter syndrome. Sometimes I feel like if you know yourself, you're self-aware, don't like these things bother me, this thing trigger me, you'll be able to know like this is imposter syndrome, I'm good at what I'm doing, so no one will tell me. That brings me to the last helpful tip. I think this is a conversation I need to have with someone who is someone who has been in the market, so that they can be able to tell us if they experience imposter syndrome. Let me see if I can find someone to come and talk about it, but this is just according to me. So the last tip is to Always be positive and compassionate with yourself. Keep telling yourself you're good at this. Keep telling yourself you went to school. Keep telling yourself whatever you're saying is right. And keep on reading so that you can prove yourself right. Always put yourself first and be compassionate. Don't listen to those drowning voices. I know there are a lot, especially on social media, when you're creating content and someone is telling you you're lying, someone is Googling the Googlers and they're telling you this and they're telling you that. But if you keep strengthening your inner self, you're like, you know what, I'm a nutritionist, I have the license to practice. So if I read more and what I say is right, then what I say is right. Yeah, so those are just helpful tips that have been helping me keep at bay the imposter syndrome. But if I manage to ace it, I will tell you guys. Thank you for watching and thank you for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Follow me on all my social media platforms at Charity Safe Haven. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel with the same name. Please subscribe. Get me to 100 subscribers. Share, leave a comment about how you tackled imposter syndrome. Share your experience with imposter syndrome. Let the audience know how bad imposter syndrome can get and how you overcame it. I will really appreciate, because it will help me grow my community. And also like this video, guys. Yeah, so until next time, I've been yours. Bye bye.